This week in the field, trying to create something from nothing. Hi everyone, I'm Scott Davenport and welcome to In the Field. Thanks for joining me today. I got two quick things before we get into today's topic. Number one is workshops. I've got 2 spaces left as I record this in the San Diego Coastlines Workshop happening in September 2018. Many of the outings you see on this channel are from San Diego and the surrounding area, and I would love to show them to you. So if you've got time in September and like to come out and join me and some fellow photographers for a few days out at the coastlines of San Diego, I'd love to show these places to you. You can hit my website for all the details. The second thing is I'd like you to share the channel with a friend. Been seeing some great interaction on the videos, some very thoughtful questions, some really great insights. It feels like a very positive group, and I'd love to get some more like-minded folks who are interested in sharing their knowledge about photography so we can all get better together. With that, let's talk about today's topic, creating something from nothing. And that's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, I suppose. But the backstory of this is I went to a specific beach in the San Diego area that is great if you're going out for a day at the beach. Just bring a chair out there, bring a cooler, spend the day at the beach, great for walking. But photographically, really challenging. There is not a lot out there other than sand and ocean. So let me take you out to Silver Strand Beach, which is in Coronado, just south of San Diego downtown, and show you what I found. It is Friday, the weekend is here. I am on my way to Coronado to do some photo work. We're in the middle of May gray in San Diego, which means we get gray skies most of the morning and early afternoon, and then it tends to break up. Well, today the clouds did not break up as rapidly. There's still quite a number of them in the sky. All right, out here at Silver Strand, you can see there is not much here, but I found a couple of ripples in the sand. I'm going to use that as a foreground element. The clouds are blocking out the direct sunlight right now, so that's good. I'm doing about a 2-minute exposure. See how that looks, and we'll modify from there. Worst case, I've got a couple of lifeguard towers I can go find and use as a foreground element. Well, sun broke again, and that's not so bad. It gives me time to pick up, move, find another composition. Probably down the beach behind me. There's, again, I got those lifeguard towers, but I'm gonna walk along the shoreline and see if I can find any other interesting ripples in the sand. Those are, holding the foreground just well enough. And I gotta wait for that next bank of clouds to come through and help to mute out the sun. Otherwise, there's really not much that's gonna be interesting up in that sky for these long exposures. With the gap in the sky, I like how this tower is getting lit, the darker clouds looming behind it. I gotta do some framing work here. There's a lot of distractions behind it. There's street lamps and a few buildings. I'd love to get some palm trees in there, but I've already struck out at one tower. Hopefully I can do a little better job with this one. I did end up with the portrait orientation, shooting pretty wide, about 19 or so millimeters. So I'm getting the tower, and I framed up just to be careful enough that this street lamp to the left side of the tower, I left just enough gap so I'll be able to remove that pretty easily in post if this photo turns out to be good. Same thing on the right hand side. This is maybe about 1/3 from the left of the frame. There is another street lamp in the background there. And yeah, I got some bar work in front of that, but that's also reasonably isolated if I need to remove that. The rest of this stuff though, this background, it's just killing me. Plan B here, it dawned on me, this little retaining wall that's behind me, I could stand up on that, get the tripod up really high, and use the darker clouds that are to the south of the tower there. It's still getting kind of nicely lit up by the sun, and that worked out better. Switched over to a little bit of a longer lens, shooting in, I'm probably gonna guess the 35 to 40 millimeter range. And that framed up pretty well. So now I can still go and scout farther down the beach. I probably have another couple of hours before the sun completely goes down, but there's a healthy amount of clouds at the horizon. This is, unless it breaks up, it's not gonna be a sunset day. But what's going on right now with the sky is pretty darn interesting. We get down closer to the shore, use the Point Loma Peninsula, which is that landmass in the background there, to help kind of make a triangle. What you're kind of seeing in this shot, right? Coming in from lower left, sweeping slowly across to the right, and then hitting the land and coming back out into the center of the frame. Maybe framing up something like this. I just got to find something interesting down in the foreground to anchor the shot. Finding a couple of small shells, a little sand dollar there, and with a really wide angle lens, imagine that in the frame, and then all of this stuff. I'm going to try to frame up on this. The tide's starting to come in. I wouldn't mind that. There's some hints of footprints here, I'd like those to get erased, and then I can get some nice shots. But I'm going to get set up, hope that wave comes through to clean house, and then I'll be ready to go. The shot with the shells in the foreground was insanely boring. I got closer to the water, grabbed a couple of shots there, did some things with the sky being much more emphasized in just a nice gentle line of the surf. And I think I've exhausted this particular spot, at least today, given the conditions. I'm gonna break out the infrared camera. I brought that along with me today, and just have a little fun with it and see the world slightly different, and call it a day. It's been nice out here. I worked a variety of subjects while I was out there. The lifeguard towers really didn't work out. I think that was mainly time of day. If I were there in the morning hours, I could have faced west, not have all those distractions behind it. I think that would work out better, so that's one thing I can do when I return to this beach. The seashell things, that just fell apart pretty quickly, and that was an experiment that failed. Now I know not to try that particular one again. I need something a little bigger than a shell that's, the size of a $50 perhaps. But what did work out for me, though, is those ripples in the sand, and this was early in the shoot, and dragging the shutter for a couple of minutes just to smooth everything out, and looking more for, for shapes and for tones. Not even tones, really just shapes and maybe different shades of light. That was pleasing, and the one I have processed, I'm happy with. I went black and white with it. Not a lot of color happening that day, and it did not have a colorful sunset. And that was good, and it just reminded me that if you work a location, you can find a photo that is interesting to take, and I think that might be the tip of the week, that work a scene, and after you've spent a few minutes, even when it seems like, wow, there's just nothing here, you look a little deeper, and maybe there is something there, or you can create something, something as simple as your toes in the sand, as that could be a story for a photo. And maybe an addendum to the tip of the week is, after I was done with this shoot, I was starting to chase the light. The clouds looked like they were going to catch some color, and as I was driving to the north, I saw this view of San Diego downtown that I hadn't seen before. So I said, well, I've got plenty of sunset photos. Let me forget about that and go back and scout this other location. And I didn't come away with a great photo, but I found a new spot that I'm eager to get out to when the conditions are going to be conducive to a great photo of the San Diego skyline. It'll be from a distance, but there's the Coronado bridges in it, the skyline itself, and I can imagine with the right sky, it's going to be gorgeous. So a fringe benefit of forcing myself to go do something or go visit a place I knew was going to be challenging is I found a new opportunity for a future shoot. And that will do it for this week's In the Field. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you did, please let me know somehow. Comments on the video below. You can send me questions either through the video comments or through my website if you want to keep it private. And again, please share the channel with a friend. I hope you're getting value out of this. The likes and the thumbs up and everything else. All those little things tell me that you're getting something from the videos, encourages me to come back and sit down week after week and make more. Well, until next time, my name's Scott Davenport, and happy shooting.